Yes, this is Kayla.
And this is Becky, and we're with a couple of Bees Read, and today you're going to do an author's note.
Yes. I've had a lot of authors on Twitter asking me questions about the querying process, writing a query letter. So this is going to be a short video on everything you need to know about the querying process.
Okay.
First of all, you need a query letter. Barbara Pill has a great book about questions about publishing, where she explains how to write a query letter. And what she says is you simply have your hook, your book, and your cook. So your hook is the way you pitch your book. It's not a log line. Those are different. It is something that catches your agent's attention that's going to make your book stand out. I think my current hook is Kelsey Cash needs 4 things to be happy: a pina colada, white sand beaches, a healthy royalty check from her new mystery novel, and for the Gulf Shores Police Department to stop calling her crazy. The silent ghost of a murdered teenager has other ideas. So it's just enough to make them say, like, oh, okay, beach read, oh, ghost and murder. So it's enough to grab the attention.
Right.
Is it the best hook out there? Absolutely not. I've seen far better hooks than that. You can look up book hooks and try to come up with one. I suggest writing several. I think I sent you 4 or 5 when I was composing my newest query. The next thing you want to do is describe your book. And I've looked over several authors' query section, that book part.
Right.
It can also be called a blurb. And the mistake I see the most is they're trying to tell me the plot. When you go to describe your favorite movie to your new bestie, you start with, well, it's about this guy, or it's about this girl who does this thing, and then this happens. You start with the character. So what you want to ask yourself when you're coming up with that little book blurb is, who is your character and why is she interesting?
Right.
Or he. What does your character want? What stands in your character's way? What are the conflicts? And then what are the stakes in this story? So basically,
sounds good.
Your book section is going to be 4 sentences that answer that question. Play around with it, answer the question differently several times, and you will come up with the most concise way to pitch your book. And then last, of course, is the cook, and that is the author's bio. Now, if you, like me, when I started out, I didn't have a lot of writing credits to my name. Try to say something clever, like let the agent know why you should be writing this. My first line of my bio is, I come from a family of detectives, including a grandfather who told me lots of true crime stories I learned not to repeat in daycare.
Right. Pretty cute.
So it's cute. It's funny. Agents laugh.
Right.
And then I go into the things I have published. If you're in the boat where you haven't published short stories, I was too at first, then what you would want to do is you would want to talk about what book groups you're into. And when I say that, I don't mean like book of the month. I know we talk about them a lot, but you're talking about writers groups. So I'm a member of AWP, I'm a member of the Alabama Writers Conclave, and a few others. The most popular of those is AWP. So that is the one I mentioned, and I think what I say is, as a member of AWP, I work with critique groups to hone my craft. If you're not yet a member of one of those writing groups, then you say, I work with critique groups, I work with beta readers to hone my craft. I have a weekly group. Because what your author wants, or what your agent wants to see, is that you are working to be a better author.
Right.
And that you have an understanding that nobody is perfect.
Yes.
So as good as your book is, it can be better. That's why you want an agent.
That's right.
And then you would close out your query with a thank you for your consideration. If you have anything to add, such as multiple viewpoints, you could add it there. And then again, just a thank you for your consideration, and I hope to hear from you soon. And I will backtrack just a little here.
Okay.
You've got your hook, your book, and your cook. What I have heard that works, and what I have used that has worked in the past, is start with a personalized paragraph to that agent. It doesn't have to be long. It can be, "Dear agent, I was excited to see that you represent Susie, author, because I write fiction similar to her."
Right.
And then you say, "My book, my book's called Outside Paradise. My book, Outside Paradise, is complete at 80,000 words, and it would sit nicely on a shelf next to this book or this book, used two comp titles." You could also throw in that opening paragraph, you could also throw in a little bit of a mashup. If there's a popular TV show that you think your book would comp to, you could mention that. But do keep it short. It should just be enough to let the agent know, hey, I've done my research. If you're querying an agent who's brand new, which you absolutely should do, because sometimes those newer agents are more like, they're ferociously hungry for writers.
Right.
But they're brand new and they don't have people you can comp to yet.
Right.
Then what you would do is you would say, I see on your website, on your manuscript wish list, I saw on Twitter, I saw that you said you wanted this kind of book. And if you've done your research, it's a description of your book.
Right.
So if you start with that opening, hook, book, cook, you'll start getting good feedback. Now here's the second part of everything you need to know about querying. When you get this written, have people look at it.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't care who it is. One piece of advice I've gotten is, if you have a local bookstore, go into your local bookstore, find the manager, find the owner, and be like, read this and tell me if it works. Because booksellers know what language they're looking for when they choose to purchase those books and put them on their shelves.
That's a good idea.
So do that. Have them look at it. Obviously have your critique partners, your beta readers, and everyone else look at it. But I would have at least 2 more sets of eyes on it. And then send out 5 queries. I wouldn't send out any more than 5. I would not query your dream agent first. Send out those 5 queries. Right. If you use Query Tracker, which I use, you can look up which agents respond faster and query the agents who respond the quickest. Because what's going to happen is, A, they're going to respond and be like, yeah, go ahead and send me your manuscript. Or B, they're going to respond and say, not for me. And if you get 2 or 3 that are like, no, form rejection, chances are the issue is your query. So that's when you sit down and you rework your query. I've gone through probably 10 drafts of my new query.
Right, yes.
And it's just now getting requests for fulls. And that's fine, but that's why I say don't start with your favorite agent. And I would make it a goal of doing 5 agents a week.
Yes, and you keep a spreadsheet. Tell them.
And I keep a massive spreadsheet of all the agents. Good idea. Because, and one way it helps me is, so a lot of the agents I find by flipping to the back of my books and seeing who agents whom. But you can also find them Google search. You can find them on Query Tracker. You can look all the places. But one thing, there are a lot of big agencies right now, and what you don't want to accidentally do is query 2 agents at the same agency, because none of them want you to do that at the same time. That's a big no-no. Now, there are agencies, they're like Bookends Literary Agency. It's huge, and you can query 1. In fact, they're some of the people that I would recommend maybe querying them first, because they have the fastest response time. That's what they're known in the industry for. You can query 1, and if they reject you, they will tell you, query someone else. But wait until you hear back. And don't query that other person with the query that just got rejected.
No, change it up.
Rework
That's
it.
Right.
So that's my advice for querying. Make sure you stay organized, do your best, and guys, know that you're going to get a lot of rejections. We hope that we get a lot of rejections, because the other option may be you don't hear back at all. The first time I queried a book, when I didn't follow any of these steps, I didn't hear back from anybody, ever. And that's usually a sign that they recognize maybe you don't know what you're doing and you haven't done the research.
Right.
So do it 5 at a time. I know it's tempting to be like, I'm just going to sit here and query 30 agents. Don't do that. 5 at a time. Be willing to hone your craft, to rework and rework.
And
once you get a
Do
query.
the research.
Yes. And once you get a query that works, if they're requesting fools, great. Give it some time. If you then get a lot of rejections on fools, that's when you go back to your pages. And you figure out, okay, maybe there's something going on here. Maybe I need to tighten things up. You can hire an editor if you need to. I suggest more critique partners. But that is my advice. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments. If you want someone to read over your query, leave that in the comments, and I will reach out to you with my email address, and we can see what we can do. Until then,
Okay.
bye guys.
Bye.